Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I'm well aware that I stand between you and a green button. I've enjoyed the debate over the last 2 days, and it's kind of interesting because even if you step outside the chamber and go to the bathroom or step out and grab a drink, everywhere you go around this building, you can't avoid the debate. One of the scariest moments of my freshman year was realizing that a speaker was in the bathroom when Speaker Tillis hit the gavel, and, well, you know, I jumped. But in all seriousness, it's very interesting to listen to the concerns and the praises on both sides of the aisle with the budget. You know, it wasn't just Democrats disagreeing with Republicans having issues and going back and forth. And you know, but that's part of a comprehensive spending plan. That issue has happened today, and it's going to continue to happen as long as this great institution is here. But I'm very glad that the Speaker allowed this debate to happen, because many of you actually reached out to me through text message in the halls and said, hey man, do what you can do. Do what you can do. But no, that wouldn't be the right thing to do. And so I was glad we allowed the debate to happen. This budget isn't perfect. If you want a perfect budget or a perfect bill, you're never going to find one, because it doesn't exist. When you have 120 people from 120 different places, 120 different personalities, there's always going to be some type of disagreement or some type of misunderstanding or something you don't like. That's just the way it is. But we've talked a lot over the last almost over 10 hours over the last 2 days on the process. And this process just didn't start on Monday or Wednesday. I'll actually argue that this process started almost 1.5 years ago, when the Speaker had the foresight to put bipartisan committees together to figure out how this state and this body was going to respond to the COVID-19 pandemic. And what you see today is a continuation of that process that started that long ago. Then as we come into session, we get the governor's budget, we look at his recommendations. Some of those recommendations are in this document today. Then we get the Senate's budget, look at their recommendations. Some of their recommendations are in this budget today. And then it becomes our turn. And this just didn't start a few days ago. It was months ago as our appropriation chairs, area appropriation chairs, are working through the process. Then it gets into how much money we're going to spend. We have to get data from our central staff. Then we go through area committees where each one of you who serves on those committees had an opportunity to take part in that discussion. Then we go to full appropriations. We sat in full appropriations for almost a whole day, listening to amendments, and everybody had an opportunity in here to work through that process. Then the bill goes to finance, where we had more discussion, more opportunities. Then we go to pensions and retirements, where we had even more opportunities. And even before this budget got to the floor, many of you on both sides of the aisle met with me, met with Representative Hall, met with the Speaker, met with our appropriation chairs. Actually, some of you came in groups, some of you came as individuals, and you included yourself in this process. And some of the same people that said, well, I wasn't in the process, actually have projects and stuff in the budget where they were part of the process. And so I look at where at third reading today, and the process has worked. And of course, everybody isn't going to be happy. We've also debated bills that have come through this chamber. Some have gone on to become, well, missing in action in the Senate. Some have actually worked through the Senate process, but we debated bills that have come through this chamber that are actually here in this budget. Each one of you had an opportunity during that time to put amendments, to have input, navigate the committee process. Is here in this budget. You've also heard from countless lobbyists, trades groups, department liaisons, organizations, constituents, encouraging everyone in this building to take part and engage in the process. Trust me, I know the thousands of emails and phone calls and text messages that some of you are actually getting right now as we're speaking, or did today before we close this budget bill up and pass it on to the Senate. And they're all asking every one of us to engage in the process, to be a part of the process. That's why they meet with you. Let's engage in this process together as we move forward in conference. And I look at what's actually in the budget, the substance of this spending plan. And members, every single one of you in here are passionate about something, or else you wouldn't be here. And if you look at this spending plan, if your passion is state employees and retirees, you find large raises. I remember I was actually talking with somebody outside. I remember a few years ago when we were excited to do 0.5% in the first biennium, 0.5% in the second biennium, and we thought we were on to something. Now we're looking at state employees receiving 5.5% raises, 7% raises, some teachers even getting 10% raises. You're looking at retirees getting bonuses on top of that. You're looking at state employees. I mean, this is truly a wonderful financial package. Of course, I wish we could do more, but it's a responsible step for sustainability for our state and supporting our state employees and retirees. If your passion, I've heard a lot about this the last 2 days, is education. Look at the pay raises in for our teachers. Think about the bus drivers, the cafeteria workers, the teacher assistants that are now going to get to be $13 an hour to $15 an hour. Think about the impact on their lives. Look at the innovative programs that we have in education. Look at the capital spending that's going in, not just our universities, but our community college. There's also K-12 school construction dollars put into this budget. If health care is your passion, look at the additional funding we've put into health care programs all throughout the state. Look at the innovative programs that you're doing there. Yesterday, we all unanimously voted to extend the cancer benefits to our firefighters here in the state of North Carolina. And very personal to me is this budget includes something that we've been fighting for almost 15 years. And in Eastern North Carolina, we've been fighting for a new Brody School of Medicine. This budget funds the Brody School of Medicine, which doubles the seats for providers. And the Brody School of Medicine at East Carolina University puts more healthcare professionals in North Carolina than any of the other schools. They actually stay right here. A lot of them in rural North Carolina where they're desperately needed. If economic development is your driving force and your passion, look at the tax cuts. Look at the historic preservation tax credits that now become permanent. Look at the meal credits that now become permanent. The transformations that have happened across our state because of these two items alone for economic development for our downtowns is truly remarkable. The broadband connectivity. You know, we're well on the way to being the first state in the country, from our mountains to our coast and all in between, to connect every citizen with broadband connectivity. That's something that all 120 of us should be proud of. If veterans is your passion, if our military is your passion, we brag and say that we're the most military-friendly state in the country. With the tax cuts, exemption to our military personnel, and something that every single one of you wanted in your district, which was no veteran left behind, a mental health pilot program for our veterans, which is now not contained just to 4 or 5 counties. It actually will be deployed across the state. If veterans is your passion, that is something to vote for. If you like the dirt and you like water and sewer and infrastructure, and you have small towns all over this state that are begging, that people are worried because their actual water and sewer bill is higher than their mortgage. I know every single one of you have county commissioners, city council people call and ask you, say, we need help with infrastructure. If that is your passion, if flood mitigation is your passion, which today we have a plan for almost $1 billion in flood mitigation strategies that affect every single county in this state. Never been done before. If that is your passion, it is in this budget. Friends, this is a good budget. This is a bipartisan budget. And this is a budget that all of us should be proud of. I ask for your vote.
The question before the House is the passage of Senate Bill 105 on its